Today is Sunday. I have been extremely busy lately because I'm planning a trip. In 2 weeks I'll be going to Italy with my mom, and then with my mom we're gonna come here to Lithuania, and then we're gonna go to Poland as well. But anyway, today I will speak about a subject which for me is like really interesting, which is related to language learning, and specifically I will mention why is it so hard for adults to learn new languages. I won't today go to any special place. I have to run some errands here and there, but first I want to have some breakfast, so we are going to make something to eat. So, shall we get started? By the way, if you're wondering, my breakfast here is just whey protein, cereal and bananas. Like when I have to hurry or maybe have a busy day and I don't have much time, I just make something easy like this, and like that's more than enough for me. Today I actually wanted to speak about learning languages because this is usually something that all people who migrate at some point struggle with. And I believe the language learning methods that we as adults usually use are not the best, and I think that we can learn a lot from children. So a little introduction about myself. My native language is Spanish because I was born and raised in Argentina, and of course I studied English from a really young age. Honestly, I don't even remember when I started. I speak Lithuanian here in Lithuania. This is the third language that I learned to a high degree. By the way, funny thing, some people have asked me to like show how my voice and the way I speak changes according to the language I speak, and of course this is the way I speak when I use English. Pero cuando uso mi idioma nativo, creo que mi voz cambia bastante, creo que se hace bastante como más suave de alguna manera. Y obviamente hablo como más fluido y más rápido porque es mi idioma nativo, naturalmente. Bet, kai reikia lietuviškai kalbėti, aš manau, kad mano balsas skamba biški, nežinau, gal gilesnis, atrodo jis, ir man atrodo, kad tai yra, nes balsas lietuvių kalboje jos yra kažkur va čia, tai dėl tos priežasties taip ir gaunasi, man atrodo. So, the next thing that I want to mention is the fact that we adults, when we study new languages, we usually focus, I would say, way too much on grammar rules. And the fact of the matter is that fluency in a language comes by repetition. So, for example, if you take a kids, they don't study grammar rules when they are young, and they just repeat patterns, phrases. I think that one thing that can truly help you out get better in a language is stop like focusing so much on grammar and just start speaking and repeat. Now I am going to JYSK or JYSK because I need new pillows. How is it pronounced, guys? Can anybody of you tell me? JYSK, JYSK, how is it? Anyway, let's go. thing to keep in mind is the fact that learning a new language is extremely exhausting. especially if you are using it or you have to use it every day when you migrate to a new country. I can actually mention my case. When I came to Lithuania, I already spoke a little bit of Lithuanian, but my level wasn't that high. The fact of the matter is that I had to start using the language like every day for 5 days a week, and I honestly wouldn't have imagined how tiring that can be. Like, more than once it happened to me that at the end of the day, after speaking all day Lithuanian, I felt extremely tired. So, and that I think is also a reason why learning languages as an adult is so hard. So I decided to make a detour and came to this part, which is very close to my house. There are some like trails and you can go. So I thought, let's go and have a walk a little bit. I'm losing my breath. But I also understood that today I didn't include so far any cinematic shot. So I think I'm gonna try to make one here. So let's go. But there were so many bugs and mosquitoes that I decided to just get out of there, because in just 2 minutes I had like 15 mosquitoes on my legs. And I found this cool place here, so I decided to just sit here and film the next part. So the next reason why I think that learning languages for adults is so hard is overthinking it. Because if you compare with kids, they are not so self-conscious, so they just try to speak and they don't care if they make mistakes. When you grow up, you start to feel self-conscious and you start to worry about mistakes all the time, and sometimes because you fear making a mistake, you might limit yourself and you won't speak, you know? I think that this is a really common thing which affects everybody when trying to learn a new language. My advice in that area would be just don't be afraid of making mistakes. Nobody will care. Just try to speak the language, and that will make you better and will really help you progress faster. At the end of the day, to learn a language, you need to speak it. So it doesn't matter if you make mistakes, just speak it. I'm just walking around now, and I think I'm gonna get a coffee because I really want to have some coffee. Another thing which I think is extremely important when we are learning a new language is understanding what is our motivation. Because, for example, kids, they learn to speak a new language, their native one, because they need to communicate. So this is a huge motivator. But when we are adults and we are learning a second, third, fourth, fifth language or whatever it may be, if we don't have a real urgency or a real motivational factor, you won't progress as much. So for example, if your partner speaks another language and you want to learn it to communicate better with them, that's a huge motivational factor. If you move to another country and you need to use a new language either for living there or for work or whatever it may be, those are huge motivational factors. When I was in school, they made you study a second language just because, and that's great. I think studying languages is a great idea in general, but are you going to use the language? Are you going to progress? Are you going to be better at speaking the language? I don't think so, unless you find a true motivation. So if you're gonna learn a new language, understand what the motivation is and I think that will help you determine if you will progress and how to progress, you know, because each time that you think, oh man, this language is so hard, I don't want to study or whatever, if you have a real hard motivation, you will do it. So yeah, that I think is something important to consider. And we have reached the end of yet another vlog, and I want to thank you very much for watching it till the end. If you could give it a like and you could subscribe to the channel, that would be amazing. And for now, see you on the next time. Bye bye.